French filmmaker Éric Besnard had a hit here a couple of years back with Délicieux, the story of an 18th century chef who takes off to open the world's first restaurant. Besnard's enthusiasm for historical fiction is also the basis of Miss Violet, the story of another trailblazer, a village teacher.
Il m'a été demandé de vous trouver une affectation. Prouvez votre valeur et nous verrons si nous pouvons vous trouver quelque chose d'un peu moins extrême. Je trouve que la République a été bien généreuse, mademoiselle.
Women teachers were rare enough in 1889, but in fact the objections of this rural village are to pretty much everything else about her. Louise Violet is clearly not from around here. She's actually from the hated Paris, and she's coming in with a lot of newfangled ideas.
Seriez où je peux trouver monsieur le maire?
Qui demande?
Louise Violet. Je suis la nouvelle institutrice.
The slow, middle-aged Joseph reluctantly admits he is in fact the mayor that the authorities have sent Louise to meet. But he kicks his heels in when she starts pontificating about how these days education is free, secular and compulsory. Says who?
Les choses ont changé. L'école est gratuite, laïque et obligatoire.
Nous, on n'a rien demandé.
Bonjour.
Says the Third Republic, says Louise. In the past, the local priest did any teaching required, mostly the equivalent of Sunday school Bible studies. Well, now local children are allowed, in fact, it's mandatory, to learn to read and write.
On a des vies, des cultures. On vous a pas attendu pour apprendre à penser.
Soit vous m'envoyez les enfants, soit j'appelle les gendarmes.
Pour l'instant, vous êtes une étrangère. Si vous faites ça, vous deviendrez une ennemie.
Mayor Joseph is aghast. He depends on the votes of the local farmers, who depend in turn on the unpaid labour of their kids. The first crack in the village's defences comes from Joseph's own family. 10-year-old daughter Leonie really wants to learn, and his mother thinks Miss Violet is an asset to the village.
Dès comme ça, il en passera pas beaucoup par chez nous. Et si tu veux qu'elle reste, faut que les petits aillent à sa classe.
But there's a knack to winning over everyone else. You can't fight them, says Joseph. You have to outlast them and outdrink them. Really, they're just worried their children will become smarter than their parents and then leave the village.
Tout ça c'est bien beau, mais à la fin de l'histoire, il se passera quoi quand il en saura plus que moi? Il me foutra dehors.
Well, one thing I've become used to in French historic films is their assumption I've got a good grasp of French social history. It's not essential, of course, but it does help to know that half the kids in Auvergne speak such a thick patois that outsiders like Miss Violet need a translation.
Quasi ici la scola? Il me demande si c'est ici l'école.
5 x 5.
25.
Quel est le plus haut sommet français?
Lire et écrire, vous pouvez m'apprendre à moi aussi?
And there are other details that anyone who went to French primary school presumably learnt in years 3 or 4. Before 1889, France had gone through several violent post-Napoleonic upheavals, culminating in the current government's new enthusiasm for education.
Tu veux venir à l'école?
Oui, madame. Je voudrais apprendre des choses.
Si tu veux apprendre des choses, la classe c'est le bon endroit.
And it turns out there's also more to Miss Violet's banishment to the back blocks of Auvergne than meets the eye. Louise has clearly got her own hidden history, and her reluctance to share it makes her a target for gossip and occasionally worse.
Toi, qu'est-ce que t'en penses, toi, de l'institutrice? Moi, je l'aime bien. Puis, c'est une femme moderne.
C'est un petit village, on ne pourrait pas empêcher les rumeurs.
Ouais, c'est bien beau d'arriver. Faut savoir repartir.
But there's one thing she's openly passionate about, and that's offering her new charges options they've never had before. You can be explorers, vets, even politicians, she says. Well, needless to say, the more the modern world starts pressing the village, the more the old guard push back.
Fernand sera peut-être un explorateur, vétérinaire ou bien un ministre. Tout est possible.
Faut qu'elle s'en aille.
The appeal of so many French rural costume dramas like Miss Violet isn't so much historical as nostalgic for a simpler, happier world. I initially thought of British TV's Downton Abbey, but really it's more like another antique roadshow, Dr. Finlay's Casebook.
Est-ce que tu peux me donner 3 mots qui commencent par la lettre A?
Artichaut, avoine et anniversaire.
Like the good doctor, Louise Violet is the voice of the future, while crusty old Joseph is the conservative local, reminding her that she's not always right. Meanwhile, Granny in the background tosses in monosyllabic wisdom when required.
C'est quoi que tu nous dis pas?